Michael, very well said, man, and fantastic food pictures. I'm already looking at them and getting hungry. I ate a muffin and coffee, which was fairly disturbing. With due respect to the hotel, it was a highly processed muffin that I started my morning with. Um, I wish I could get that chili and water. And was it jaggery or what was that floating on top of the water? Okay, fantastic. Isn't it? We'll wait. Okay, I think my slides are here. So I was given, hi, my name is Saby and I've been cooking professionally for the longest time and around the country. Been very lucky to actually see the province very closely, India, be it the south, be it the coast, be it, I was born in the east and of course worked in the north as well. And then finally spending some time in the cities. As we all know that in India, we all move to the cities because there is better opportunity, better jobs, and yes, hospitality was never really decentralized. Now we're looking at smaller cities, but yes, I came back to Bombay to do my first thing, and then finally now in Delhi, been professionally cooking for a while with lots of brands. I have always promised myself the day I turn 40, I will give up my professional cooking, which happened about 3 years back, and hence I've been looking at opportunities for chefs with food, still staying with the industry, still cooking, how to, we all got to pay bills. So basically, primarily do interesting stuff and yet to pay bills. So I was given a topic to speak about, so I'll straight get to the point. Is there lunch after this? Anybody knows? What is the time? Okay, fantastic. So we'll get through it very quickly, I promise you. So yeah, the subject that I was given was primarily about trends. I don't know why we keep talking about trends. Why is it so important to have trends? Is it really necessary to have trends? Food, I personally believe, is the most basic necessity to all human beings. If you can make it exciting, before we make it exciting, make it nourishing, make it healthy, make it welcoming, make it warm, make it natural, make it organic. Also, organic is a badly used word these days. So, we've spoken about the rise of ready meals on the go food becoming popular. So, I've given a few points, as you can all read on the screen. Ready meals are becoming very convenient, or we almost can say convenient meals. I remember living abroad about 2000, early 2000 in Sydney, and every time you come back from work, you go to a supermarket, you pick up your roast chicken, you pick up your frozen garlic bread, you throw it in the oven and you're sorted. I think we are almost going that direction. I can't say it is good, I'm nobody to comment, but yes, it is convenient. Yes, it is highly processed. Yes, it is probably suitable when you're very hungry late at night, but yet there is a word of caution that is it really good for us? Is it really good for our children? Is it really good for our families? So we'll have to strike a balance. I think today it's very important for us to strike the balance, and as chefs and guardians of this industry, I think, and Michael will join me in saying this, I think he's already saying it very loudly that we got to look inside, we got to focus on what's in there within our culture, within our societies, and do things from that. So I think even a popular concept like a ready meal could be done with something that is within our culture and not necessarily has to be a frozen garlic bread or a frozen pizza. Feel free to pick up your hand and raise your hand and ask me if there's anything that I could add a little more or elaborate on. Organic and locally sourced ingredients. I would just touch the topic of slow food. I am a part of the slow food chapter in India, and organic is a very loosely used word today. It's not a health fad, it is not a style statement, it is not something that you talk about and you get excited. It's very important for us to first understand slow food, first understand our roots, first understand where we come from, what we do before we start talking about organic food. As I put in the slide says, especially in those high income brackets. Now necessarily food, like I started saying, food is our basic necessity. It can't be limited to a particular society or group of people because I have more money, I'll eat organic food. Or because I have more money, I'll be healthy. I don't think it should be the way it is. That's why I personally feel slow food probably is the way to go. Where we go back to our roots, we go back to our villages, we go back to our farming communities, we encourage them, we start farmers markets, we start a supply chain. We were just discussing the supply chain that in India we grow so many things, but yet nothing reaches us. And that's why probably slow food is very imperative in everybody's life today to understand our roots, understand how we can do things sustainable, and it is not just about eating organic food or organic ingredients as a lifestyle choice. If some of us can, I think we're lucky. We can go to a good supermarket or a good organic store and pick up some good vegetables. But if you're not, you can even grow it in your backyard garden or in a terrace if you follow the principles of slow food, and yet be very, as in eat very well, you, your family, and everybody else. So if there's any thoughts and questions, we can come back and discuss slow food again. If anybody wants to know more about how we are doing and what we're doing in India to promote slow food. Regional food coming back. We just discussed Michael's book about East Indian Goan cooking. My trip has always been my home food. I've lived on street food all my life, be it in Australia or in Japan or wherever I have been, or even in Europe and America. It's always been street, street, street. And I take most of my inspiration from street food. These are some brands we have mentioned. Some of them I have been part of. Some of them, or most of them, I've eaten and thoroughly enjoyed. Potbelly happens to be one of the examples. Soda bottle, of course, doing very well. We have Chef Vikram from the soda bottle team. Please raise your hand. Chef. Okay. There is Chef Vikram, so if anybody wants to go back to soda bottle, you need to catch up with Chef. And then, of course, these are few brands of Delhi. Of course, there are hundreds of examples across the country, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, everywhere. There's so much that is going on the regional food scene today. And thank you, Michael, for mentioning that I've just opened a very small cafe in Mehroli. It's based on me growing up in a small town called Asansol. And based on my dad's research, there's a little cafe that I've started, which is probably one of its kind. The first Armenian restaurant, I could say, in this country. But it's pretty much Armenians living in India. So it's not like an international Turkish, Greek, Armenian restaurant. It's about a colony of Armenians who lived between 17th century to 18th century, or let's say early 19th century in Asansol, or in that part of the world. So it's based on that. So it's also regional food that is very much a part of our culture that we don't know, and trying to look at that, I've also figured out there's a Portuguese colony, there's a French colony, and there's so much more wealth within this culture and within this country that we don't really just have to limit ourselves with, as in I have nothing against trends, as in trends are fantastic, but I feel regional food is pretty much going back to our basics. If it is trend, it's great to be trendy today to look at regional food, if that's the way we look at it. If not, still we should look back at all our roots and all our regional references. We can come back and discuss that a little more if there's time. Travel and food. This, I think, Michael, you should talk because you're the one who travels the most. So, pop-ups are becoming very big. Chefs are constantly traveling. Cultural confluence is amazing today. I traveled a bit across the world with some charity programs. The most memorable one has been the one cooking for the underprivileged charity in South Africa, where I did 4 towns, I think, Durban, Cape Town, East England. I think so, East England or something like that. So 4 towns we did. It's beautiful experience cooking with children in the villages, going to the culinary schools, doing fundraisers, curating menus every night in a different location. So, there's much going on in terms of the travel with food. So we are traveling for food. Similarly, tourists are traveling for food. So today, tourism and food is very well connected. You're traveling to a place thinking, I remember my friends used to say, oh, I'm getting married, I want to go to El Bulli and have my, honeymoon meal, so things like that. Unfortunately, El Bulli is not there, but you could go to tickets today and do the same. And things like that. So it's become so aspirational to travel with food. I think that's a very exciting part today, that I want to go to a place, not just to experience the beauty, but I also want to eat. I remember many years back when I was opening Mahindra Holidays Kerala resort, which is called Club Mahinda Munnar. I think this was in 97. We were very, very particular that we would want people to come here and eat food which is local. And that's where we happened to research on regional home Kerala food. And we didn't want to do North Indian food or popular commercial South Indian food, so to say. Similarly, when I was opening the Kufri resort for Mahindra Holidays, which is 98, I stumbled across, Himachali food. I had no idea that there's a cuisine called Himachali food, and it's such amazing flavors, tastes, textures. So some of these chains, and of course I have to give credit to Mahendra Hardis and Chef Soundarajan for that. So wherever they've opened, they have really tried to, like research to look at the background. They've gone to the nearby villages. I see a lot of that happening now with the Oberoi Resort hotels and some of the Taj Resort hotels also, that they're really trying to research. They're trying to go back in the vicinity of the hotel to see what are the cuisines, what kind of food, what could you experience. So next time you're on your holiday and you're booking for a room, there is a high possibility that particular hotel will tell you, hey, you know what, you are in Coorg, and this is the particular cuisine of Coorg, and this is what we're going to serve you. You could actually book yourself a meal. You can actually ask the chef. So that's a fantastic thing to happen in my mind today, that while I'm traveling, I'm not just limiting myself to eat my basic meal. Of course, that's there. Yet I can experience the local cuisine. I think the only place to have always been progressive in doing this was Goa for a while, but now most of the other regions have taken it up very, very seriously, thanks to most of the big hotel chains, that they're really encouraging their chefs to go back, looking at the roots, be it Rajasthan, be it Himachal, Kerala, of course, is doing a fantastic job, to go look at your roots and come up and put menus together, which is culturally correct for that particular region and which you experience while you're there. I must mention about Chola Sheraton. We had the chefs conference this year, and I have never seen a more amazing spread of Indian food. As in, I am saying Indian food because India for me is one country, so I would never say North India, South India regional. But the kind of food that they put together, I have never imagined that I live in a country where there is so much. As in, I always thought that I know a bit about food, but this really kind of made me rethink. There was food from Kerala one day, there was a food from Karnataka one day. Next day, there was a food, street food from Karnataka. I could have never imagined that you could put together a whole menu based on street food from Karnataka. So there's so much that is there in this country if you look back. Most of these recipes are today lost, so there's a lot of effort that is going on. I know Dr. Pant is doing some work, Babso is doing some work. A lot of people are actually going back. Osama is doing a fantastic job trying to find the Muslim cuisine roots and stuff like that. So there is a wealth of information within our country, within ourselves. We need to look back and revisit them. And if we put them together, it would be better representation of Indian food for the entire world, much more than what we have today. And I'm happy that Michael mentioned it, that Indian food is very badly represented. It's not that the Indian food is bad. It's not that we don't know how to cook. We are very good cooks. We have been fantastic cooks for thousands of years. It's just that our representation has been not up to the mark. We have not packaged it well, we have not presented ourselves well, we have not hired the right photographers. That's an indication. Next time you want to shoot, please ask Michael to shoot it for you. He has a fantastic hand. Michael, will you come one of these to my restaurant? Okay, so that's a hint that in case you're coming, bring your camera. Foreign restaurants, foreign brands will keep coming to us, as you can all read. I think it's too much of text. Everybody can read, right? I'm finding it difficult to read on this. Foreign trends and foreign brands, as in I have great respect always for all the fast food chains. When you're hungry on Indian street, there is very little hygienic food that you can eat at 50 rupees. On the highway, if anybody saves your life, it's McDonald's. And I have due respect to all the international chains and brands that are coming into India. At the same time, I feel there's a lot that we can do ourselves. I eat like a litti chokha almost every second day out of my office. It's just the hygiene bothers me a bit. I love the food. If you have a strong stomach, I think you love it as well. It's $10. You get a litti and you get like a aloo chokha along with that. And this is the most amazing, delightful, tasty, soul-satisfying meal that you can have. It's just how to put that together into. So yesterday I had two of my best buddies collecting awards. One was Yo Momo from Calcutta, and the other guy was this Hello Curry guy. I'm very happy to see these guys coming up, doing indigenous stuff where you are making an effort to bring out your own food of your own culture, food that our DNA accepts much better than burgers and sandwiches and Subways, food that is made from our past, food that our ancestors have taught us. So interestingly, I think the slides ran out. Interestingly, I have also now gone into discussing. Do we have 5 more minutes? Or we run out of time? Do you have time? Okay, fantastic. So I'll quickly talk about something that is going on very big, and feel free to stop me and ask me. Everybody's been talking about organic food, everybody's talking about healthy food, everybody's talking about eating right things, provenance, finding about where your food is coming from, what is the best source. We have been doing, or rather I've been reading up a bit, and I realized that within our culture, from the Vedas, there is so much more information that we probably have never tapped into. It's high time now, before the Europeans or the Americans teach us, teach us, teach us. You have a mic, you can stop me and ask me a question. No, the last one is working, this one is not. Sorry, yes.
I think they're all waiting to patent it.
Yes, so Ayurveda is a science that we know very little of, and we always think of medicine every time we think of Ayurveda. And last 2 years I've been lucky to have, that's why I think we all should retire at some point in life and take it easy, which I did. And 2 years I've been spending time reading, and I realized there's a wealth of information, and I wish, and I am happy I did take a break from my fancy European food and feeding the pastry of this country, unfortunately. And there's so much more that I'm seeing today and I'm excited about. So I would like to share 2 minutes about this new restaurant that we're trying to put together. And we're not calling it a restaurant, we're calling it a home. And it's called Devang Home. It's coming up at Ashok Hotel next to Amatra. So we're trying to bring back the wisdom and the learning of Ayurveda into an everyday plate. We're trying to mix yoga, which again America has been teaching us of late. We're trying to bring in Indian music, we're trying to bring in Indian fashion, we're trying to bring in nutritics, which is supplements made from fruit and vegetable sources. We're trying to make energy drinks, not Red Bull, caffeine-free energy drinks, made again formulas from Ayurvedic texts, which is a very exciting time to be here today for me, because I think there is so much that is going on in this fair. Then we all started looking back, and it's about unlocking or opening the wealth of information, or the treasure box that is there in Indian cuisine. Great respect to Chef Manjeet Singh Gill for constantly pushing us or telling us that the roots are here, don't look outside. Yes, it is going to be always trendy. Yes, the West is always going to be shiny and beautiful. Travel, learn the techniques. Like, I'm happy Michael mentioned French techniques. Yes, as in, if you have to institutionalize your kitchen, French is the best way to do, or the only way to do. From France to Japan, everybody, it is only French technique that gives you a shelter. If you don't have French techniques, you can't really set up a business or a kitchen. At the same time, using those techniques, using this learning, and looking back into what we have in this country, if you put this together, we have a deadly combination, and that's probably where I feel that should be the trend, that looking inside, be it regional, be it your mother's recipe, be it your home recipes, using international techniques and trends. So Devang is a concept where, as in Devang means body like the gods. We're trying to go back to what our ancestors taught us. We're trying to stay away from hybrid products. I know it's very political today. Food has become very political. So we have hybrid seeds. So stay away from hybrid seeds. Stay away from food laden with pesticides and chemicals. Stay away from food with which are genetically altered. Be very careful feeding this, putting this in your system. Also, I stumbled across the fact that Ayurveda says that what you can put in your inside your body is the only thing that you can put on your body. So today we are looking freshly in terms of how you can create cosmetic which is healthy and you can use, or you should not be if they're not. How you can use nutritics, which is something that enriches your body without medicine or without supplements or without vitamins. So it's a whole new wealth of information that I stumbled across, and I realized that it was always there in our past. It was always there in our in the Ayurvedic learning. It's just that we never really taken much interest and studied it.